In today's world, we're more connected than ever and always on the hunt for healthier choices and exciting new flavors. But guess what? What you see isn't always what you're getting. And I mean that in the worst way possible. I'm Mike with List 25, and here are the most faked foods in the world. Honestly, when I first heard of this combo, I was a bit taken aback too. However, it's totally worth trying. You just have to get past the audacity of it all. It's not that much different from adjusting to other things in this country if you think about it. I mean, is it genius or insanity? What happens when you run out of key ingredients? Well, if you're Ruth Wakefield, you create the world's most iconic cookie. In 1938, Ruth was running her Toll House Inn and wanted to make chocolate cookies, but she ran out of baker's chocolate, the kind that melts smoothly, so she improvised. She chopped up a semi-sweet chocolate bar and mixed it into her dough, figuring it would melt evenly. Spoiler, it didn't. Instead, the chocolate chunks stayed intact, creating gooey, melty pockets of joy. Ruth didn't just shrug and move on, she perfected the recipe, struck a deal with Nestle, and the rest, as you know, is history. Though Nestle sucks, so don't support them. We all love a drizzle of olive oil on our salad, right? But that liquid gold might not be as golden as you think. Some olive oils are cut with cheaper oils like soybean or seed oil, or in the worst case scenario, it isn't even olive oil at all. If you want the real deal, look for extra virgin on the label. Skip pure or light. And the producer definitely gets bonus points for a harvest date and estate name. The more details on the label, the better your chance of getting the real deal. If you see an FFA, free fatty acidity, level listed, you might just have hit the olive oil jackpot, so to speak. As decadent as it might feel, not all chocolate is bad for you. In addition to providing fiber, magnesium, copper, and iron, dark chocolate is also a powerful antioxidant. That means it can fight dangerous compounds in your body. Dark chocolate has also been linked to improved blood flow and a lower risk of heart disease. Think York peppermint patties, mint ice cream, or junior mints. Or, mint flavored Oreos? A lot of people that grew up outside of the US think these type of treats taste like eating from a tube of toothpaste. I get it. But I'm still gonna eat mint chocolate chip ice cream for dessert, but I get it. Oh man. Oh yeah. Oh, mint and what the? Uh-oh, the bag was ripped. This is probably, oh no. Here's what we already know about Nashville hot chicken. It's crispy, it's spicy, and it has that unforgettable flavor. But how did this cultural sensation come to be? It all started as a plot for revenge. Back in the 30s, James Thornton Prince, a notorious womanizer, had the habit of always returning home late. On one of those nights, he arrived home late again, thinking he'd charm his way out of trouble. But his girlfriend had other plans. She made the spiciest fried chicken imaginable, with an excessive amount of cayenne pepper and other hot ingredients, hoping to set his taste buds on fire. But there was a twist, and her plan quickly backfired. Instead of burning under the heat, Thornton loved it. To him, it was a masterpiece, and in 1936, he decided to open his restaurant called Barbecue Chicken Shack, known today as Prince's Hot Chicken Shack. The spicy dish quickly became the region's favorite and slowly grew into a national and international dish. Well, my take on all this is, don't date a lucky womanizer. Let me know whose hot chicken is the best, Prince's, Hattie B's. Let me know in the comments below which one's your favorite Nashville hot chicken. I just went to Hattie B's recently. Fantastic. Also, what level do you get? I know at Hattie B's they have no spice all the way to I think atomic or whatever they call it, but let me know. Despite their appearance, a shocking amount of honey on store shelves contains syrups and sugars masquerading as the real thing and offering little in the way of health benefits. Fake honey is cheaper to produce and often drives down the price of real honey too. It ends up being a snowball effect since the adulterated honey floods the market, making it even harder to find the authentic product. So, how do you sniff out the real from the fake? Well, the easiest way to test your honey's purity is to do the water test. Simply drop a bit of honey in a glass of water. If your honey is real, it'll sink to the bottom, while fake honey will dissolve or leave white traces. Nothing complements a movie better than a nice bucket of popcorn. And while the added butter, salt, and flavoring might not be so healthy, the popcorn itself has plenty of benefits. It can be a good way of improving your body's ability to manage blood sugar levels because of the low glycemic index. That is good news for movie fans, especially if you have diabetes. If you think about the way most hot dogs are produced in this country and what they're often made of, I agree. It's totally disgusting. However, if you deep fry that baby in some sweet corn batter, it's right up there with pizza when you're on your way home after a night out on the town. Just sweet, crunchy, worthwhile regret. Oh, In 1879, Konstantin Fallberg, a chemist at Johns Hopkins, discovered sweetness in the strangest place. After a long day working with coal tar derivatives, he wiped his mouth and noticed his hand tasted sweet. He knew immediately that whatever it was had great potential in the market. Fallberg finally connected the dots. It was benzoic sulfonide, the compound he'd been working on. He quickly named it Saccharine and claimed the discovery as his own, leaving his mentor, Ira Remsen, fuming. Remsen called him a scoundrel for taking all the credit, but Fallberg laughed his way to the bank, setting up factories and cashing in big. Saccharine became a hit when sugar prices spiked during the First World War and soared again with the calorie-counting craze of the 60s. And of course, it's been popular ever since. There is a significant seafood fraud problem in the world, with companies substituting faux fish for expensive varieties like salmon and crab. Fake fish is cheaper, allowing companies to boost profits while misleading consumers. The practice is in fact so widespread that studies show that up to 75% of certain fish varieties might be mislabeled. To ensure you're getting quality seafood, scrutinize the labels for specifics like wild caught and the exact fish species. Vague labels should definitely raise concerns. Opt for whole fish or shellfish whenever possible. It's harder to substitute species this way. Remember, if a seafood deal seems too good to be true, it probably is. Okay, you might not have thought that guacamole was all that unhealthy to begin with, but let me remind you about just how good it is. It's made up mostly of avocado, which is considered a superfood. Why? Because it does everything, from reducing depression to detoxifying your body and preventing cancer. Plus, avocado is packed full of a chemical called lutein, which is also found in the brain and is linked to better memory. And it's also fun to just pronounce as guacamole. People complain about it tasting like plastic that's cherry flavored, and I have no defense for this one. You can use it as a straw though, which actually Sour Punch are better for. They're great for sipping soda out of, also great for empty calorie consumption, or you could just not eat them because they're gross. I hate Twizzlers. This story dates back to 1894 when Dr. John Harvey Kellogg and his brother Will Keith Kellogg were experimenting with recipes for a healthy vegetarian diet at the Battle Creek Sanitarium in Michigan. They accidentally left boiled wheat sitting out too long and it went stale. But that's when things got interesting. Rather than throw it away, they decided to roll it out and bake it. To their surprise, the wheat formed crispy flakes. But it didn't stop there. The brothers later tried the same process with corn, and voila! Cornflakes were born. At first, they were promoted as a health food, part of Dr. Kellogg's strict regimen for healthy living. But over time, Will Keith saw its potential as a commercial product, added sugar, much to his brother's dismay, and launched the Kellogg's brand we know today. If you're a morning pancake type of person, then I think you'd agree that pancakes deserve nothing but the real deal. Unfortunately, our supermarket shelves are overflowing with imposters labeled breakfast syrup or pancake syrup, promising maple flavor, but delivering nothing but sugary flavored water. How to spot the real maple syrup? It's actually super easy. Genuine maple syrup will only have one ingredient listed: maple sap. No fillers, no mystery ingredients, just pure maple goodness. Next time you're craving some chips, just reach for the Veggie pack instead. There's a little controversy over how much better they are than regular chips, since they still rank high in sodium and calories, but they will give your body some iron, fiber, and protein. Just don't eat them like they're real vegetables. These are still usually deep fried in tons of oil. Quite possibly the most divisive candy out there, even for us Americans. I'm totally on team no on the candy corn. Am I? I'm on team yes. Sorry, Ryder. Sorry, Crystal. I'm on team yes. You might be on team no. I love candy corn and little candy pumpkins too. Oh, everything's great. I love candy corn. This iconic dish was invented by a 14-year-old assistant waiter, Henri Charpentier. It all started in 1895 at the Maître at Monte Carlo's Café de Paris. Henri was cooking a dessert for the then future King Edward VII of the United Kingdom and his guests, which included a beautiful French girl named Suzette. Henri planned to make a simple crepe dish, but fate had other plans for him. While preparing the royal dish, he accidentally spilled liquor into the pan. Flames erupted, setting the dish on fire. For a second, Henri panicked, but the prince and his guests were waiting, so there was no time to redo it. Thinking fast, he quickly plated and served it, holding his breath. But to his surprise, the prince loved it so much that he requested it be named after his female guest, Suzette. And that's the pretty lady who took credit for the kid's invention, while the rest of us were busy enjoying the delicacy. Truffles! The word itself screams fancy dinner, right? In reality, most truffle-flavored foods you find on menus don't actually contain truffles at all. Real truffles are crazy expensive because they can't be grown on farms, they have a super short shelf life, and require delicate handling. Think hundreds of dollars an ounce, not a $10 pasta. So how do you avoid the fake truffle trap? Check the prices. Real truffles cost more than your phone bill, and if you're chowing down in Truffle Central, think France or Italy, there's a better chance it's real. The real thing will have a powerful, unforgettable aroma and be firm and bumpy, not smooth or spongy. If you want a real healthy alternative to potato chips, try kale. High in antioxidants, vitamin K for your blood and bones, and vitamin B to help your digestion and mood, kale chips are great for snacking. Usually they're completely free of sodium and fat, plus you can make them at home by throwing some kale leaves and a touch of oil into the oven. Okay, so 2 things. Marshmallows seem to ruin a lot of food for foreigners. There's a theme. They are weird and probably aren't even really food. Take that and put it on top of sweet potato casserole, which has lots of butter and sugar added, and it's just a little too much. The story of nachos was a brilliant and fascinating last-minute scramble invented by Ignacio Nacho Anaya. One night in 1943, Nacho received some late-hour guests, a group of hungry military wives. He found himself in a dilemma. He couldn't turn them away, but the cooks had all retired for the night. Finally, Nacho decided to improvise. He grabbed the ingredients he could find, fried some tortilla chips, added some shredded cheese, and topped it with sliced jalapenos, hoping it would pass for a snack. But to his surprise, the women loved it, and they eventually named it Nacho's Special. Although nachos come in countless variations today, their origins are still linked to that lucky moment of improvisation. Scallops are a popular seafood choice, but beware, you might not always get what you pay for. Millions of consumers are unknowingly eating imitation scallops made from cheaper fish like skate, shark, or even surimi, fish paste. And even if you're lucky enough to buy real scallops, you might be paying extra for water, since a lot of the companies add water to the meat to increase weight and profit. When shopping for them, remember that the real deal will never be perfectly round. If a scallop has one thicker side, it might be skate or stingray. Real scallops have visible grain or fibers running lengthwise and will have a consistent thickness throughout. And give them a sniff. Fresh scallops will have a mild, sweet aroma. If it smells fishy, put your wallet back in your pocket. Butter is not easy to avoid. It's found in recipes from meat to desserts, and let's be honest, it makes just about everything taste better. But there is a more nutritious option than the one from cow's milk. One of those comes from nuts, either peanut, cashew, almond, or walnut. It works better than just as a vegan replacement. It also delivers potassium, magnesium, and a bunch of vitamins, all while keeping your cholesterol down. Although I don't know if you can substitute it where you would actually use butter, but still, you know what I mean. Now, I've heard this from people from several different areas of the world. It's the flavor used for cough and cold medicine all over the rest of the world. I wonder if it's related to using kilometers or Celsius. Oh, no. Oh. I like root beer. I really do. Today, we see different bubblegum flavors and colors, yet its invention was just a mishap. In 1928, Walter Deemer, an accountant for a chewing gum company, made a discovery that forever changed his life. The company wanted a less sticky gum, but Walter wasn't a scientist. He just liked experimenting. One day, he whipped up a stretchy pink batch that didn't stick to everything it touched. But even more interestingly, it was perfect for blowing bubbles. Shortly after his discovery, the first ever batch of bubblegum hit the shelves, and it was named Double Bubble. By 2030, the market for chewing gums and bubble gums is projected to hit $48.4 billion. Now, that's how much the world is willing to pay for that accidental discovery. Balsamic vinegar can be found on tables worldwide and gets splashed on everything from fast food fries to Michelin-starred dishes. And yet, most of what you've probably tasted up to now wasn't balsamic vinegar at all. Authentic aceto balsamico tradizionale is a work of years. Good quality takes 12 years, while the very best can take 25 or more. This meticulous process explains why it's so rare and expensive. A tiny bottle can set you back 125 euros, which is around $135, and with only 8,000 liters produced annually, well, it's no wonder. Unearthing the true balsamic experience might require some detective work. Read labels carefully. Tradizionale is the golden ticket, and produced with mozzocotto is a must. Anything else is likely a blend or simply colored and flavored vinegar. Frozen pizza, frozen fries, frozen burgers, frozen burritos. Just walk down the frozen food aisle and you'll find just about anything pre-made, ready to eat, and most of it packed with chemicals. By far the healthiest frozen food you can have is grapes. You probably won't find them in the supermarket, but you can make them by simply washing, bagging, and freezing some grapes. When you're feeling peckish, grab a few from the bag. They can get a little softer after thawing and can be added to smoothies, salads, or even just eaten on their own. From the Bloomin Onion to all the other things, Australians are not impressed and honestly confused by this popular American chain, which, by the way, originated in Tampa, Florida. The original is still there on Henderson Boulevard. Why does I say Avenue? Henderson Boulevard, that's the one I used to go to all the time, not even knowing it was the very first one. Visitors are not sure there's anything truly Australian about the place, not even Foster's. It did originate in Tampa Bay, so, you know, there's that. I haven't had a Bloomin' Onion in a long time. Let's do this. Oh, yeah. Oops. Oh, yeah, look at that. That's gonna fall. Yep. In the 1600s, a French monk named Dom Perignon had one job: make wine. But the cold winters in the Champagne region kept messing things up. During winter, fermentation stops before it's complete. But when spring arrived, the temperatures rose. Fermentation restarted inside the bottles, producing carbon dioxide. The gas had nowhere to go, causing pressure to build up. The result? Explosions. Bottles popped, corks flew, and it seemed like the monk's work was ruined. Then one day, Dom took a sip of this accidental fizz, and his mind blew. The bubbly wine wasn't a disaster. It was something entirely new. Dom didn't invent champagne outright, but his tweaks made it sparkle like never before. What started as a cellar catastrophe became a worldwide symbol of celebration. So the next time you raise a glass, thank a monk whose mistake turned into magic. Coffee fuels our mornings, but billions are lost to counterfeit beans. The massive global market, which rakes in over $495 billion annually, is full of fraudsters who serve up watered-down versions or blends with cheap substitutes like chicory root. Even big brands like Nestle and Starbucks have faced knockoffs. To spot a fake bean, you can try a simple floating test at home. Real coffee beans tend to float, while fake ones often sink. If you want to safeguard yourself, choose established coffee shops or roasters with a good reputation and look for certifications. Some coffee beans have certifications that guarantee your origin and quality. Very cheap coffee is also more likely to be fake, so the price tag is often a dead giveaway. What's better than kicking back watching sports with a bowl of corn chips? Well, apart from guacamole, which I already talked about, salsa is essential. The best part? It turns out to actually be pretty good for your body. Think about it. It's tomatoes, peppers, and onions, all pretty natural. They bring down inflammation in your body, and salsa also has vitamin C and something called lycopene, which makes your skin look younger. Forget a spa day or skincare routine, just have some nachos instead. I'm sure this isn't a huge shocker at this point. Most chocolates and cakes are way sweeter here in the US than anywhere else in the world. Most recipes are sweet to the point of disgusting. Hey, don't insult my Reese's. By the way, greatest candy ever, fight me. Peanut butter and chocolate. And again, fun fact, it's my favorite candy, and I share a birthday with the creator of it, so that's kind of neat. But all Reese's everything is fantastic. That's why I bought a giant bag of it. Oh, root beer and Bloomin' Onion. Oh, Rice Krispies treats started off as a quest for change. Kellogg's wanted to improve their Rice Krispies, so they assigned the task to two home economists, Mildred Day and Melita Jensen. For these economists, the plan was simple: create a simple dish that could easily be made at home. But as you may know by now, accidents happen. The marshmallows melted too quickly and everything was ruined. Or so they thought. In a moment of frustration, they threw in some butter and mixed everything with Rice Krispies. What they didn't expect was that the sticky mess would turn into something amazing. A sweet, crispy treat they decided to call Rice Krispies Treats. They brought it to a fundraiser and people loved it. I mean, who wouldn't like such a fortunate accident? Definitely not me. We all know and love the warm, sweet spice that takes our gingerbread cookies and snickerdoodles to the next level. But when it comes to cinnamon, beware. The real thing is Ceylon cinnamon, which comes from Sri Lanka. It's delicate, sweet, and has a light brown color. Cassia cinnamon, the cheaper kind most stores sell, is stronger and reddish brown. Your choice of cinnamon matters because Cassia cinnamon comes with a compound called coumarin, which is safe in small amounts, but not ideal in large quantities. To be 100% sure that you're using the real thing, buy Ceylon cinnamon sticks and grind them yourself. If that's too much of a hassle, look for reputable brands like Nature Vibe Botanicals or Simply Organic, and rather buy real Ceylon cinnamon. Speaking of irresistible snacks, there are a few things harder to turn down than just a nice batch of French fries. Rather than the regular potatoes though, next time try to opt for sweet potatoes. They're loaded full of nutrients like vitamin A and E, which help your vision, your immune system, and lower your risk of getting cancer. And seriously, they taste just as good. Just, some with a little bit of honey mustard or tzatziki sauce. Oh yeah. It's a hit or miss, even for us Americans. Speaking from experience, the problem is that they are quite easy to over or undercook, and they have a very bland taste, so seasoning is important, although if you're from the South, you love grits. Pro tip, if you're trying them for the first time, try them in the southern parts of the US. Florida doesn't count, because while it's in the South geographically, it's not really a southern state in any other aspect. Also, it's true, don't buy instant grits. Like oatmeal, it's just not the same. And try lots of cheese and butter. And you know what? Pop a fried egg on top. Shrimp and grits, go for that. Oh, grits are good. I used to not like them. I actually used to really not like grits. I love them now. They're fantastic. And yeah, Florida's not the South. Like, you can't go to Miami and be like, I'm in the South. Like, no, sorry. This culture food was first made as a symbol of faith and prayer. Back in the 7th century, a monk in Italy was baking bread for his young students. He wanted to create something special to help them remember their prayers, so he shaped the dough into little loops to symbolize arms crossed in prayer. But as fate would have it, he burned the first batch. But instead of trashing the burnt bread, he decided to keep it, shaping it into twisted loops. It wasn't perfect, but it was meaningful. The other monks liked it, and the idea spread. What started as an accidental mishap became the pretzel we know and love today. Black pepper fraud? Yeah, it's a thing, and it comes in the form of additives like flavored papaya seeds. I kid you not. To avoid the peppery predicament, you should simply grab whole peppercorns instead. It's harder to fake a whole peppercorn, so you're more likely to get the real stuff. You can also test it by giving your peppercorn a squeeze. Real ones will crack easily, releasing the telltale strong scent and leaving a slight oil residue behind. Is anyone else starting to get a bit hungry by now? Well, if not, we'll just move on to the next item. Turkey bacon. Juicy and chewy with a delicious smoky, salty taste, it's the perfect food to fry next to some eggs or pancakes. You'll be doing your heart a favor too, because turkey bacon has about 30% fewer calories and fat compared to bacon made from pork. And as a bonus, religious people keeping kosher or halal can eat it without breaking any rules. So let's return to the topic of sugar. Appalled is an appropriate word. Why do we put marshmallows in cereal? This one doesn't have marshmallows, but it should. Let's see. Let's look at this. Serving size 1 cup, total fat 1.5, not terrible. Where's the sugar? 12 grams of added sugar. Total sugars, 12 grams, including 12 added sugars. Oh, that's a lot for one serving. So 9 servings times 12. Oh boy, yeah, that's great. America. Hot dogs may not have a single inventor, but their creation was a happy accident of culinary fusion. German immigrants brought sausages to the US, where they paired them with buns for convenience at events like baseball games. The term hot dog reportedly emerged after a vendor jokingly referred to the sausages as dachshund sausages. which eventually got shortened. This on-the-go snack soon became an American icon by sheer convenience and clever marketing. Believe it or not, over 95% of the wasabi that gets served in restaurants is fake. The green imposter paste is usually a blend of horseradish, mustard, and food coloring, which mimics the real deal, but doesn't have its authentic flavor and kick. So that means, chances are, you've never actually tasted real wasabi. Genuine wasabi comes from the Wasabi japonica plant stem, and is grated fresh. This releases potent flavor compounds that fade quickly, making fresh wasabi a precious and pricey treat. Next time you crave a wasabi kick, consider asking for freshly grated wasabi. And if you want to be a true wasabi aficionado, it might be time to venture into the world of wasabi rhizomes. If you monitor your carb intake with a food tracker, eating a pretzel might be the last thing on your list of snack foods. However, it turns out that they have a pretty impressive nutritional profile, including copper, iron, and zinc. Now those might sound like elements you mine out of the ground, because they are, but these are also important for your body. They keep your nervous system healthy, pump protein into your blood to keep your energy high, and help to fight off viruses. By the way, soft pretzels are much healthier than the hard ones. And maybe avoid dipping them in chocolate. What we failed to warn non-Americans about is that you have to wait for it to cool down first. Or try to. I put this one in the microwave a few minutes ago. We're gonna find out. God, I hope I don't burn my mouth. But then the middle is still frozen. I know it's awful, but so good. Ow, ow, ow. Oh, You've had time to cool down. That's not fair. This tea is deeply rooted in Taiwanese culture. Lin Sui-hu, a production manager at Chonshui Tang Tea Room in Taiwan, loved experimenting with different drinks. But one day, in 1988, she had the brilliant idea to throw in some tapioca pearls for texture. But here's the twist. The pearls were just supposed to add some fun to a simple tea blend. But when she poured the hot tea over ice, the pearls turned soft, chewy, and, well, perfect. People went wild for the combo. It was an accidental invention, but Lin didn't just stop there. She added milk and made it sweet, transforming this accidental invention into a worldwide sensation. For context, the global bubble tea market was valued at $3.1 billion in 2023. Yep, that's how much we love Lin's invention. What's your favorite flavor? Let me know in the comments. And why is it taro? Because that's the best. If you're a cheese connoisseur with a penchant for Parmesan, you deserve the real deal. Not some pale imitation masquerading as the king of cheeses. Unfortunately, supermarket shelves overflow with Parmesan imposters, boasting similar names, but lacking the true depth of flavor. Real Parmigiano Reggiano wears its crown proudly. Look for wheels adorned with Parmigiano Reggiano and DOP markings. These tiny pin dots also reveal the cheese's birth date and a unique dairy ID, ensuring its authenticity. I know, I can already hear you now. But Mike, there's no way that ice cream is a nutritious food. It's one of the most delicious foods ever to be created, and most of us try our best not to eat entire tubs of it. Well, I'm happy to inform you that this guilty pleasure doesn't need to be so guilty. It can actually be part of a healthy diet. It all goes back to a study more than 2 decades ago where a researcher found that people eating dairy-based desserts had a much lower risk of developing diabetes. Most doctors won't endorse the diet of eating ice cream every day, but there are much worse things you could be having. 2 words. Cheese food. Not real cheese. Cheese food. American cheese is not the way to show patriotism. Virtually any other cheese will taste better. I do, however, have fond memories of Cheese Whiz and Triscuits. I mean, I know, it's so gross and so bad for you, I actually refuse to have it in my house. Do you know why? Because I can't help myself, and I will eat it all. Hashtag guilty. Before you order your next classic French upside-down caramelized apple tart, here's a little history you should know. This delicious dessert was accidentally created in the late 19th century by the Tatin sisters. They ran a hotel and restaurant in France called the Hôtel Tatin. Legend has it that Stephanie, one of the sisters who often managed the kitchen, had a little kitchen slip-up. While making an apple pie, she overcooked the apples in butter and sugar. What did she get? A sticky mess. But in an effort to salvage the situation, Stephanie threw a pastry crust on top of the apples, shoved the whole thing in the oven, and, well, hoped for the best. When it came out, she flipped it over and voila! the caramel-covered masterpiece we now call Tarte Tatin was born. And even after all these years, it remains one of the best French desserts you can find on the menu. And it's fun to say. Tarte Tatin. Most of us are well aware that our commercially bought vanilla flavoring doesn't contain a lot of, well, vanilla. But did you know that 99% of the world's vanilla is fake? The real thing is made from vanilla beans, fancy orchid pods that require hand pollination because bees don't travel well. These precious pods, mainly from Madagascar, are steeped in alcohol, resulting in the complex flavor profile. Imitation vanilla, on the other hand, is a synthetic concoction often made from petroleum. Unfortunately, spotting the fake is tricky, and taste tests are unreliable. Imitation vanilla often packs a stronger punch, but real extract boasts a whole symphony of flavors. Floral, woodsy, and even hints of oak. The fact of the matter is that the imitation usually wins when it comes to what we buy, purely because of its pricing. And it gets worse. Much worse. But speaking of food, you want to know what else is good food for the soul? Liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing? I mean, it really helps the channel so we can keep making these awesome videos for you. Oh, and don't forget our socials. While I'm talking about desserts, let's have a look at cakes. Normally, they're full of sugar, fat, and harmful additives. Not so much for the angel variety, though, which is spongy, light, and surprisingly healthy. It can be made with low calories, plus without fat or cholesterol. As a bonus, there is a decent dose of sodium, fiber, and amino acids, which are literally the building blocks of life. The Lego of life. Life Lego. It's mine now. It's trademarked. Can't have it. Hashtag Life Lego. Is ice really food? Well, according to food safety regulations, yes. There have been studies that show it might be cleaner to drink from a toilet bowl at certain restaurants. However, the more ice, the better for most Americans. In other countries, the massive amounts of ice served in the States are confusing and absurd. We even have... So these are reusable ice cubes. The water's in there and you freeze them. So that way, you can actually, quote-unquote, wash your ice. Yeah. So, cheers. Believe it or not, potato chips were invented out of pure annoyance. It all started in 1853 when George Crumb, a chef who worked at Moon's Lake House in Saratoga Springs, New York, encountered one of his most picky customers. The customer sent back his first order of French fries, complaining they were too thick. Well, to satisfy the customer, George sliced them thinner. You'd think his customer would be satisfied at this point, but no, he sent the order back again, and again, and again. At this point, George was frustrated and made an extreme decision. He sliced the potatoes into paper-thin sizes, fried them crisp, and served them with a sprinkle of salt. George waited for the order to be sent back with another complaint, but the customer loved them. The chips recipe quickly spread, and a snack birthed out of frustration soon became America's new obsession. Researchers in Germany recently revealed that nearly 30% of caviar sold in Europe is fake. Even worse, some aren't even fish eggs. It's a mystery mix of unidentified DNA, maybe sturgeon leftovers, and who knows what else. If you're big on caviar, there are several ways you can ensure you're buying the real deal. Real caviar has a beautiful, clean appearance. The fake stuff might have a film or residue on the eggs or excess of liquid that doesn't match the egg color. Not to mention that real caviar is a flavor explosion. Always check the ingredients before you buy. Real caviar uses sturgeon roe and salt, while fakes will come with thickeners, broths, and artificial flavors. Alright, let's step away from cakes and sweets for a moment and back to some basic vegetables. Well, this one's actually technically a fruit, but it's treated as a vegetable. Increasing your zucchini intake is an easy way to give your body a boost. They improve your heart, digestion, and are high in antioxidants. And if you don't know what to make with them, why not try delicious zucchini bread? It's quick to make with flour, salt, eggs, cinnamon, and walnuts. Trust me, you won't believe that it's made out of zucchinis. The big complaint here? Well, more marshmallows. See, I told you there's a theme. Oh god, fruit salad is gross. This sauce didn't start off as an accident. It was a total disaster. In fact, it was so bad that it had to be hidden in the cellar. Here's how it all started. In the 1830s, two English chemists, John Willie Leah and William Henry Perrins, were tasked to recreate a spicy Indian sauce. They gave it their best shot, but what was the result? A strong odor and a foul taste. They considered it inedible, a kitchen disaster. Accepting defeat, They shoved it in the cellar and moved on. But here's where fate stepped in. Over a year later, they stumbled upon their forgotten concoction and were curious to try it again. Upon tasting it, they realized the failed experiment had aged into something magical, a rich, flavorful sauce. This discovery led to the commercial production of Worcestershire sauce in 1837, and today, it's considered one of the best sauces in the world. Have you ever tried Wagyu beef? The marbled meat's popularity has skyrocketed in recent years and has presented us with a growing problem: fakes. So, how do you avoid this bovine bait and switch? Look for its grading. Real Japanese Wagyu gets graded like a champion. Only the A-listers, the cuts that hit the highest marks, get crowned the true Wagyu. So if you see Wagyu on a menu or in a store, see if they mention the grading, A5 is at the top, or where the beef comes from in Japan. Remember, real Wagyu is a splurge, so a cheap price tag might be telling enough. I didn't mention it before, but chips can be made from more than just veggies, like bananas. I mean, think about it. Bananas are part of so many good foods. Banana splits, banana bread, banana pancakes, the list goes on. Now, think about cutting them up and deep frying them, and voila, you've got chips. Just like everything else on this list, they are incredibly nutritious, full of protein, fiber, iron, magnesium, and more. And I also love plantain chips. Those are delicious too. Here's another culprit for why our food tastes so disgustingly sweet. Read your labels, people. It's so sticky. Good for baking. Probably didn't know this, but cheese puffs were originally made from horse foods. About 90 years ago, the Flakes Corporation, a Wisconsin animal feed manufacturing company, used a custom feed grinder to process animal food for easy digestion. This machine always needed cleaning, so one day the workers came up with a strategy. Their grand idea was to blend wet corn. But then something unexpected happened. When the moist corn met with the grinder's heat, it puffed up like popcorn. Edward Wilson, an employee of the company, saw an opportunity. So he decided to take the corn puffs home and season them. And right there, he discovered the first cheese puff and called it corn curls. Long after this remarkable discovery, the company realized they were onto something big and went all in on the snack. We all know saffron is a spice royalty. And with a price tag between $1,100 and $11,000 per kilo, it is easy to see why. Hand harvested for its vibrant color and intoxicating aroma, this luxurious spice can elevate any dish. But with such value comes imposters. Luckily, unlike vanilla, spotting the pretender is easy, and it comes in the form of, you guessed it, a water test. If placed in water, real saffron will take its time and slowly release a golden hue. Any imitation will turn the water red within seconds. Are you one of those people that can't function until you've had your morning coffee? Well, news that coffee is good for your health will be music to your ears. Drinking 2 to 5 cups a day is associated with a ton of serious positive effects. From a lower risk of Parkinson's and depression to reducing heart disease and liver cancer, coffee is a magical drink. Cold brew is my favorite. Oh yeah, and I don't know if you can tell, I like Reese's. Take all the hearty grains of nutrition and chuck it out the window. Replace with sugar and whatever will make the bread last until the year 2075. I still like it though. I love all breads. That's not fair. That's not fair. It's good. Considering the extreme imagination of kids, it's no surprise that the world's first Popsicle was accidentally created by an 11-year-old boy, Frank Epperson. One day, Frank carried out a simple experiment on his porch with some soda powder and water. He left the mixture in a cup overnight, forgetting his stirring stick in it. But that's when things got interesting. That night, the temperature was literally freezing. And the next day, Frank woke up to the world's first Popsicle. The soda mixture had frozen around the stick. But instead of trashing it, he took a bite. And guess what? He loved it. Fast forward to today, and over 2 billion are sold annually in over 30 flavors. The moral of the story? Maybe you should just let your kids carry out more curious experiments. Who knows? They might just happen upon a billion-dollar invention. Almond, coconut, rice, and soy. Milk has undergone a significant change in recent years. And now, yet another challenger has entered the ring. Lab-grown alternatives are shaking things up with their variations of genetically engineered yeast programmed to churn out the same proteins found in cow's milk. According to these producers, their milk is perfect since it's lactose-free, hormone-free halo, and kinder to the environment. Have any of you tried it? White bread has been under attack for the last few decades. There's been a movement towards multigrain, with many swearing off white bread for being too high in sugar. But hold on a minute, maybe it doesn't deserve all that bad press. White bread has calcium and iron, just like its brown counterpart. One study found that there were no clinical differences between people eating white bread versus whole wheat. They analyzed gut bacteria, and there were no deficiencies in the white bread group. Well, maybe it's time we can go back. I mean, if you still like your grandma, I'm not telling you can't, but it's okay. White bread's okay. Apparently, it's not a thing in Europe. Salty, fatty mayo. I can't say I understand this one. Ranch dressing is my absolute favorite condiment. Ketchup? Now that's gross. Whoa. Them's fighting words. Ketchup is fantastic. Mayonnaise is the greatest condiment. Oh, Crystal, you and we're gonna have a talking. You made me say ketchup's gross? That's so rude. I love ketchup. Ketchup or catsup? Let us know in the comments below. Ketchup is a beloved condiment found in nearly every kitchen. Its origins trace back to ancient China, where a fermented fish sauce called ketchup was popular. When British sailors encountered it, they attempted to recreate it with local ingredients like mushrooms and anchovies. Eventually, tomatoes were added to the mix, and the accidental evolution transformed into the tangy condiment we love today. From a salty fish sauce to a staple on burgers and fries, ketchup's journey is a culinary twist no one could have predicted. Berries, superfruits, and fancy packaging often dupe consumers looking for healthier options when it comes to what we drink. Parents might even feel smug satisfaction when giving their child apple juice instead of soda. I mean, come on, it's from fruit. Unfortunately, your juice might be fooling you. Even labels boasting 100% fruit juice can be deceiving. You see, economic adulteration is a real thing. That means your juice might be diluted with cheaper options like apple or grape juice, different berries, or even sugar water or high fructose corn syrup. So, how do you avoid the fakes? Check the label. Real fruit should be first on the list, not apple juice or sugar. Research the company, and if you're still not sure if the product you're buying is the real thing, contact a dietitian. Unless you're from the UK, baked beans probably aren't in your day-to-day diet. They're not often considered a healthy dish, especially when put next to sausages, fried eggs, and bacon. That's called a full English breakfast for those who don't know. But compared to other staple foods like rice, baked beans actually come out on top. Bean eaters have a much lower risk of developing diabetes, probably because they're high in protein and fiber, which doesn't take much insulin to process. If you're new to the US and have stumbled upon sweet tea, congratulations. You're probably in a state where it's safe to try grits for the first time. People in the northern part of the country think it's weird too. And yes, there's a lot of sugar. I was trying to find the extra sweet version. It's purple. I couldn't. So this is technically not sweet tea. This is sweet tea and lemonade, also known as an Arnold Palmer. Now, I've never had Milo's. Oh, that's nice. Way more lemonade, though. I'd say, yeah, I like it. But I add sugar to my sweet tea. So, hey, I was 100 pounds heavier. There's a reason for that. Coca-Cola didn't start as a refreshing beverage, it was supposed to be medicine. In 1886, Dr. John Pemberton, a pharmacist, whipped up a syrup to help cure headaches and calm nerves. He mixed it with water and started selling it as a medical tonic. But one day, a soda fountain worker accidentally mixed the syrup with carbonated water instead of plain water. Customers loved the fizzy twist, and soon, Coca-Cola was being sold not as medicine, but as a drink for everyone. Pemberton sold the formula shortly after, probably never realizing the global juggernaut he'd accidentally created. Today, Coke is synonymous with refreshment, all thanks to a simple carbonation mix-up. Who knew messing up could taste so good? What's your favorite soda? Let me know in the comments below. I do love Coke, but Dr. Pepper is still my favorite. I just don't have a cool Dr. Pepper hoodie. If you can find a cool Dr. Pepper hoodie, let me know. Nothing is holy in the world of fakery. Case in point, even fake wine is a booming $3 billion industry. Wine fraudsters operate in three ways: by creating fake labels and bottles, by adulterating cheap wine to resemble the real thing, and by running fake investment schemes. If wine is your thing, the best way to protect yourself is to scrutinize the label for printing inconsistencies. Check the bottle's shape and weight for authenticity, research labeling regulations for the specific wine, and examine the cork and capsule for signs of tampering. Ultimately, your best defense is to buy from trusted sources and do your research before parting with your hard-earned cash. Ham is a kind of processed meat, a classification that turns a lot of people off. But a nice ham sandwich never did anyone any harm. Ham is rich in something called thiamine, better known as vitamin B1, which converts carbohydrates into energy. See, your body is like a giant car, and if food and carbs are the fuel, then vitamin B1 acts like an engine. Is it real bacon? Really? Even if it says so on the jar, I have doubts, and I have no defense for this one. Ice cream cones were born out of a really cool collaboration at the 1904 World's Fair in St. Louis. An ice cream vendor ran out of bowls to serve his customers, leaving him in quite a sticky situation. Nearby, a Syrian pastry seller named Ernest Humley was selling thin, crispy waffles. Seeing the ice cream vendor's struggles, Humley rolled one of his waffles into a cone shape, and voila, an edible container for ice cream. The customers loved it, and the idea spread like wildfire. While there's still some debate about who officially invented the cone, one thing's for sure. This genius combo of crispy and creamy was an accidental creation that revolutionized how we eat ice cream. Damn it, now I'm craving some ice cream. I've asked a lot of questions. What's your favorite ice cream flavor? I always get, when I go to Cold Stone, I get their, it's like the awesome peanut butter. It's got peanut butter sauce inside with the Reese's peanut butter cups. And so classic wise, probably cookies and cream, but I like fun concoctions. Just like your olive oil, honey, saffron, and even your favorite fish, your oregano might be completely fake. Studies consistently reveal oregano bulked up with imposters like olive and even sumac leaves. In fact, a recent study in food chemistry found that 90% of tested oregano samples contained filler, with some being over 50% fake. Yikes! The good news is that researchers are getting good at sniffing out the fakers. A team at Queen's University Belfast has developed a rapid and effective method using mass spectrometry that can now detect just about any surprise ingredient in your oregano. But why fake something as common as oregano? For large-scale businesses, even a small amount of filler in huge quantities translates to big profits. Garlic, paprika, and even rice can be targets. So nothing is safe. Candy and apple? What could be a better combination? Usually sold at carnivals or fairs, candy apples are, well, exactly what they sound like. Apples dipped in sugar. You probably thought they were your dentist's worst nightmare, and that might be a little true, but candy apples can have fewer calories in them than other kinds of sweets. Plus, you get the vitamins and minerals of the apple. But let's be honest, most of us don't get too excited about the fruit part. Remember our discussion on corn dogs? Well, people new to the US can't quite wrap their brains around why we are obsessed with frying almost anything at the county festival. Oreos, Mars bars, sticks of butter, funnel cake. Diabetes, anyone? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Now, I didn't have time. I also don't own a deep fryer. So I got these pork cracklings instead, which are fantastic. Also a very southern thing. Oh, these two are interlocked. Let's get this one. Oh, goodness. Butcher's cut. You can still feel the fat. I'm not selling it, am I? So not quite the deep fried festival food, but it's a stand-in. What if I told you that Dippin Dots wasn't created by an ice cream brand, but by a microbiologist? In the 80s, Kurt Jones was working with cryogenics to flash freeze animal food when he had a light bulb moment. Why not try the same thing with ice cream? By dripping ice cream mix into liquid nitrogen, he created those tiny creamy beads we all know today. The idea hit him while explaining his work to his family, and from there, the eureka moment took off. It wasn't all smooth sailing though. Their first store struggled, but things turned around when Dippin Dots made their debut at a Nashville theme park in 1989. Marketed as the ice cream of the future, they quickly became a hit. Imitation crab is all about mimicking the taste and texture of crab meat, but it's usually made with minced fish, starches, and a limitless variety of additives. Crab sticks, in particular, are a clever invention from Japan. In 1974, Sugio Company introduced the world to kanikama, flaked imitation crab meat. A year later, Osaki Suisan followed suit with the now familiar crab stick format. So, how can you tell the real deal from the imitation? Check the label. Real crab should be labeled clearly. If it says crab sticks or crab with a K, it's likely an imposter. And don't trust the front of the package either. Flip it over and scrutinize the ingredients list. Real crab won't have a laundry list of processed ingredients. Believe it or not, gum goes back thousands of years. And while we might not be chewing on tree bark anymore, it does beg the question, is it any good for us? The answer, according to a bunch of studies, is yes, and the effects are surprising. It boosts a range of brain functions like memory and decision-making while reducing stress and depression. Experts think that this could be because it increases the amount of blood flowing to the brain. Ha! Take that, teacher who told me to spit out my gum. I'm pretty sure the Twinkie from my school lunchbox in the 90s is still good to eat. I don't really need to explain this one, do I? I'm still gonna eat it. Twinkies are fantastic. They make chocolate ones. I think they make mint ones. Oh man. Yep. That was so good. So, millions of people around the world can't get enough Nutella in their morning toast. But where did it begin? Back in the 40s, Pietro Ferrero, an Italian pastry maker, wanted to create an affordable chocolate treat. Since cocoa was in short supply because of the war, he mixed hazelnut sugar and a little cocoa to stretch the ingredients further. The spreadable concoction became a hit, and over time, the recipe was refined into the beloved Nutella we know today. Eventually, Nutella didn't just stay a stand-in for chocolate. This wartime necessity quickly became a beloved sensation all on its own. If you're still stuck in the world of butter and its longtime rival margarine, I have news for you. Plant-based butters are here, and, well, they taste good. Forget everything you know about butter, churned cream, classic spread, and margarine, vegetable oils, terrible health rep. The plant-based spreads are lactose-free, vegan, and free of those bad-for-you trans fats. Plus, some brands claim they cook and bake just like the real butter, which says a lot. If you ask me, plant-based butters might be the healthier option thanks to the lack of trans fats and potentially less saturated fat. But taste matters too. Luckily, some plant-based options mimic butter incredibly well. The best way to decide? Well, go buy some and give it a try. Still partial Kerrygold, hell yeah. Half breakfast cereal, half sweet treat. What is more satisfying than a granola bar? Other than the fiber, antioxidants, and vitamins, granola bars keep you feeling full for much longer than other snacks, meaning that it's perfect if you want to lose weight. It also prevents something called anemia, which is when there isn't enough iron in your blood, making you feel weak and tired. To sweeten the deal, most brands add a little chocolate, fruit, or flavoring to each bar. I really love the ones with like the different nut butters on the bottom. There's an almond, a peanut, and I don't remember the third. They're fantastic. Try them if you haven't. If you haven't tried Chicago-style pizza, it's at least worth giving it a go. It's a whole experience, and you often need a fork and knife to eat it. Think of it more as a pizza casserole. It's another debated food, even among Americans. Let us know more things in the comments below. Chicago style or New York style? Twinkies started as an experiment to solve a production problem. In 1930, James Dewar, a baker at the Continental Baking Company, noticed that their shortcake pan sat idle when strawberries were out of season. He repurposed the pans to create a banana cream-filled sponge cake. When bananas became scarce during World War II, vanilla cream replaced the filling, and the Twinkies as we know it were born. Plastic rice conspiracy theories have been swirling around the internet for ages, and they just won't die out. Some believers even swear by the water test to sniff out the plastic grains. Yeah, fake rice scandals such as mixing fillers with real rice have happened. Scary, but not plastic nightmares. And the water test? Real rice can float too, so it's unreliable. So, can we toss the plastic rice panic into the recycling bin? Well, ideally yes, but let's face it, the world isn't always sunshine and perfectly regulated food markets. In some places, food safety might be a bit relaxed. Widespread contamination by plastic rice might be unlikely, but it doesn't hurt to be cautious, especially if you're buying from unfamiliar sources. If you haven't heard of this before, then you might not think these two words belong together, and normally they don't. Even reading the ingredient list of chocolate hummus sounds a little strange. Chickpeas, cocoa powder, and peanut butter. I mean, what? But some people swear by chocolate hummus, a rich, creamy dessert dip that's good for you too. The chickpeas give you minerals, vitamins, and fiber. And if you make the dark chocolate variety, you get antioxidants and omega-3 fats too. Still, chocolate hummus might be a step too far for me. It's not, I've had it, it's really good. I know, I feel like as a Jew, saying chocolate hummus is fantastic. I feel like I need my card taken away. It's fantastic. It's good. Try it. Trust me. Too dry, too sweet, too confusing. Are they really considered breakfast pastries? They can also burn your mouth as well as Hot Pockets if you stick them in a toaster first. These ones grab my attention. I'm gonna give you like 10 seconds to try to guess what flavor you think these are. I'm gonna you still get to guess. Give me a second. I'll see if it gives it away. Oh my God. Oh no. Oh yeah. That's not gonna help, is it? And in case, were Granny Smith apples a mistake too? Total accident. But how can a fruit be made by accident? Back in the 1860s near Sydney, Australia, Maria Ann Smith, a British-Australian farmer, spotted a random seedling growing near her compost pile, where she'd tossed some French crab apples. This little seedling grew into a tree that produced bright green apples with a tart, unique flavor. Maria took care of the tree, and it turned out these apples were not only delicious, but also stored really well and were perfect for cooking. Named Granny Smith in her honor, the apples became a hit in Australia and later took over the world. People have been brewing fake tea for centuries. Back in the day, tea could be anything, from tree leaves mixed with a bit of sheep dung to regular leaves dyed a suspicious shade of green with a chemical called Prussian blue, which wasn't exactly a health tonic. The Victorians freaked out about it, and stricter laws and sciencey ways to sniff out the fakes were born. However, the problem still exists today. Just a few years ago, in 2018, India seized a ton of fake tea dust. And in 2012, China was caught selling already used tea leaves as brand new. Luckily, food safety regulations are getting stricter, making it harder to sneak the bad stuff in. If, like me, chocolate hummus isn't your fancy, but it is, can I tempt you with an Asian delicacy? Onigiri is the Japanese name for sushi wrapped in black, dried seaweed and typically served with fish and vegetables inside. A couple of these will fill you up with calcium, iron, and enough protein to keep you going all day. The beauty of onigiri is that you can put any fish, vegetables, and sauce inside that you want. It's like a Japanese version of a burger. A lot of visitors and those newly settled have commented that our biscuits are oddly bland and dry, especially as much sugar and salt as we add to food. Though what do they really find disgusting? Biscuits and gravy. It's gloopy, gloppy, and salty and will make you question a few life choices. I have to say though, this one depends largely on who made it. Biscuits and gravy is fantastic. Are fantastic? Try it. Again, another southern thing. Don't go north and go biscuits and gravy. Buffalo wings were created in 1964 at the Anchor Bar in Buffalo, New York, when co-owner Teresa Bellissimo needed a quick snack for her son's friends. She deep-fried chicken wings, typically discarded or used for stock, and tossed them in hot sauce. The group loved them, and the dish quickly gained popularity. Buffalo wings went from a kitchen improvisation to a worldwide favorite, proving that even scraps can turn into culinary gold. Fake chocolate? Come on, we can handle weird hot dogs, questionable cheese, and fishy crab sticks, but leave the chocolate alone. Unfortunately, fake chocolate is a thing, and it's not going anywhere. The fakers swap in lower grade beans, bulk up the bars with mystery oils, and even slap fake labels on them to trick you. Luckily, science is fighting back. In 2013, scientists figured out a way to fingerprint cocoa beans, which means they can track where the beans come from and expose the imposters. But there's a catch. The testing is expensive, which might mean higher prices down the line. Still, if these tests work, we'll know exactly what we're paying for. No more fake chocolates, because let's be real, messing with chocolate is a crime against humanity. Speaking of fish, why not load up on some frozen fish? You can keep it for as long as you need, and you can stock up on fish from different seasons. Frozen fish provides more than just convenience. The American Heart Association says that it reduces blood pressure and the risk of heart issues.